Senator Hirono.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. You noted that rookie agents visit 9/11 Memorial, and there was a time when part of the training for incoming FBI agents was to visit the Holocaust Museum. Do you still do that?
Not only do we still do the visits to the Holocaust Museum as part of our training, but I have personally gone. I wanted to go through it myself. Not only did I reaffirm it, but I actually went with a class and spoke to the class and went along the tour so that I could get a sense of what they're learning as they go through that. We also require, you may be interested to know, the third leg of the stool, if you will. You got the Holocaust Memorial, the 9/11 Memorial Museum, which I added. We also have all agents go to the Martin Luther King Memorial here in D.C.
Your predecessor, Director Comey, had made note of the importance, as far as he was concerned, of the experience of visiting the Holocaust Museum. And I don't know if you've heard what he said. Let me just quote him. To see that although the slaughter, the Holocaust, was led by sick and evil people, those sick and evil leaders were joined by and followed by people who loved their families, took soup to a sick neighbor, and went to church and gave to charity. Good people help murder millions, and that's the most frightening lesson of all, that our very humanity made us capable of, even susceptible to, surrendering our individual moral authority to the group where it can be hijacked by evil, of being so cowed by those in power, of convincing ourselves of nearly anything. I'm really glad that your agents visit these museums, and I wonder if you agree with your predecessor's comments about why it's so important for your agents to experience these museums.
Well, I'm not sure I caught everything that you read from the quote. I will say that from my own perspective, one of the things I found most eye-opening about my own visit with a class going to the Holocaust Memorial was the really scary role that law enforcement in Nazi Germany played. I think most people, I as a kid growing up in this country, assumed that most of the atrocities were just committed by, the military in Nazi Germany. And while that is certainly true, there was also a very frightening role that law enforcement in Nazi Germany played too. And I think that's one of the parts of the tour that is a little bit tailored for our classes so that they understand in a very personal way that their profession is one that if they don't do things in the right way, can have horrific consequences.
That they have a personal responsibility also. Have you read the Mueller report?
I've reviewed it. I wouldn't say I read every single word.
Do you consider Mr. Mueller to be a person of integrity, objectivity, and professionalism in your experience with him?
In all my experiences with him over the years, I've considered him to be the consummate professional and a straight shooter.
So do you have any reason to doubt his report, the Mueller report? The findings and basically how he went about the investigation of the Russia interference with our elections. Do you have any reason to doubt the integrity of his work?
No.
So in your written testimony, you mentioned the threat of domestic violent extremists as one of your priorities. You talked about, quoting you, underlying drives for domestic violent extremism, which includes, according to you, racism, anti-Semitism, Islamophobia. So can racist and divisive comments from national leaders contribute to the problem of domestic violent extremism?
My sense is there's all kinds of things that contribute to the often sort of deranged extremism that occurs.
Yes, you never know what's going to set off a lone wolf, but would you say that comments from national leaders that are very racist and divisive can also create a situation where a lone wolf might act?
I think extremist rhetoric by anybody can have the effect, any public figure can have the effect of inspiring people. But remember that the people who commit hate-fueled violence are not logical, rational people.
No, that's why it's very dangerous, I would say, for national leaders to speak in a way that can encourage or in some way incentivize a person who is unhinged. Let me turn to the 37% agency that you run. And you do have strict HR policies based on standards laid out by the Equal Employment Opportunity Commission. If one employee at the FBI told another employee who was a minority or an immigrant to go back where they came from, what would the consequences be, knowing full well that the U.S. Equal Employment Opportunity Commission has made it very clear that such comments should subject a person to some kind of disciplinary action?
Well, I'm not going to engage in hypotheticals, but what I will tell you is that all of us at the FBI are committed to core values of respect, of fairness, of diversity. We have all manner of procedures and policies that are in place to provide outlets for people who are the victims of any kind of improper discrimination or harassment, and we are firmly committed to our core mission of protecting the American people, all American people, and protecting and upholding the Constitution for all Americans. So that being
the case, if one of your employees told another employee go back where you came from, that would subject that employee to some kind of a disciplinary action?
Again, I'm not going to engage in hypotheticals. I expect all of our employees to comport with our core values and to follow our rules and law.
Let's hope that that means that you actually follow through with some disciplinary action. So in 2017, the Trump administration launched the VOICE Office, which stands for Victims of Immigration Crime Engagement. It's an office dedicated to the victims of crimes committed by undocumented immigrants. And this despite repeated evidence that show that immigrants are in fact less likely to commit crimes. Does the FBI have a mechanism for tracking crimes committed against individuals because they are an immigrant or perceived to be an immigrant?
I don't believe I've seen information quite like that, but we collect lots of different kinds of information, so I'm reluctant to speak with absolute certainty on that.
So I don't know exactly where the VOICE Office is located. I take it not in the FBI.
No, not in the FBI.
We have concerns about the independence of the FBI, so I wanted to ask you, has the President or anyone at the White House or the Attorney General or anyone at the Department of Justice asked or suggested that you do anything unlawful or unethical, including opening, altering, or closing an investigation?
As I said to you and your colleagues on the committee during my confirmation hearing, I am committed to making sure that the FBI does all of its work by the book, utterly without partisan motivation or interference, and that has been true since the day I started, and it's been true right on up until today.
So are you testifying that the President nor anyone at the White House or the Attorney General has not asked you to open, alter, or close an investigation?
I can't think of a situation where any of those people has asked me to close an investigation or to do anything remotely inappropriate.
That would be including altering and opening an investigation, I assume. So you're very cognizant and committed to the independence of the FBI and the work that you do.
Absolutely.
Thank you.